calling for the elimination of $21 billion in tax breaks for these companies over the next 10 years. Joining us with his take is Republican Congressman Louie Gohmert from Texas. Congressman, great to see you again.
It's great to see you, Gerri. Thank you.
Well, you know, I want to break down some of these big tax breaks and show folks exactly what we're talking about, because I think it's a big mystery. So let's look at this list. Domestic manufacturing tax deduction is almost $2 billion a year. The percentage depletion allowance is $1 billion. Foreign tax credit, almost $1 billion. Intangible drilling costs, almost $1 billion. You add them up, they're $5 billion, but there are another 4 tax credits we haven't even talked about here. Look, you know, everybody's suffering here. We're in trouble with the debt and the deficit. Shouldn't we be taking some of this stuff away?
Well, most of them are called tax deductions, and for any other manufacturer, anybody else that does business, the cost of doing business is a deduction. It's an expense that you get to deduct from your profit line. If you look at the percent of profit that the oil companies are making, and I'm not in love with these guys, but you got to be realistic. There's got to be a reason the International Monetary Fund said that China is going to overtake us in the next 5 years. Why? Because they're investing in energy. They're using money to draw energy in, and we're talking about penalizing energy companies.
But
they can go other places.
Couldn't we use some of that money to help energy companies other than oil companies if we took some of these benefits away?
And you know what happens. There is no such thing as a corporate tax that doesn't get passed on to the people who buy the products. So the people who buy the gas, most of my constituents, some might call working poor, they can't afford to pay more taxes to Washington, which will be passed on to them. And in the meantime, the majors, they're going to be okay. Of course, it'll help Soros and his buddies that are investing in Brazil and the rest of the crony capitalists involved with the White House. But
isn't crony capitalism all about the oil companies? I mean, you can make the same, you could play the same blame game here with the oil companies. I mean, well, I'm just pushing back on you here. I think that these are serious questions that need to be addressed.
They are serious questions, but please, Gerri, think about it. That money that it's hit to the oil companies, it gets passed on to the consumers. And so people end up paying it. As far as I'm concerned, we could do away with corporate taxes so we see exactly who pays all the taxes. It's the consumers. And many of whom, you know, for the Wall Street folks that pay 4-to-1 to Democrats over Republicans, it's an inconvenience. For workers, you pass that extra tax on to them, it is tough even getting enough gas to get to work.
I don't want to repeal corporate taxes as an experiment to find out what the rest of us pay. We already know that.
What we would find out is that the manufacturing jobs would come flocking back to America. When you go to China, as I have, you talk to CEOs, why did you move? It's because the corporate tax is less than half of what we have. China is drawing people in, including oil companies. They're making those kind of investments. But here, we're blindly saying, you know what, let's penalize the people that provide the energy that have made us the greatest nation in the world. But we are losing that. There's a reason we're projected to go behind China in the next 5 years. We don't need to fall into that kind of thinking. We need to encourage development of our own resources right here.
Well,
but
sir,
we keep
I agree with you on
taxes.
that. We sure do need to encourage development, and we're going to have to let you go. Thanks for coming in.
You add those to our companies, they go elsewhere. They'll sell it elsewhere. Yeah. We need it here,
I hear you.
Thank you.
Congressman Gohmert, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.